USA Today's NFL Wire, and just happy to talk about the Guardian Cap. This is something that I've been wanting to discuss for a long time, and especially with the big news recently. I just want to just jump right into that. Um, when did this whole thing, in my opinion, when did the whole development of the Guardian Cap start? Can you just give us like a quick overview of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Guardian Sports, we've been in business for 16 years now. And the development of the Guardian Cap actually begins all the way back in 2010. So we have a material science business. My family is the one that started the business. My parents are the ones that founded both businesses. But we have a company called the Hanson Group that does material science solutions. So we make bulletproof glass for the military, self-sealing fuel tanks, golf balls, bus bumpers, solving problems from anywhere from the U.S. Air Force to BASF to 3M. And along that problem solving journey, there was a group of doctors that approached my parents back in 2010 that wanted to make a soft shell football helmet cover. They wanted to help reduce those impacts. And my parents, being the problem solvers that they are, decided, yeah, we can make this happen. And they made it. It was called the Gladiator helmet. But in 2010, it was just too much change too fast. Um, at that same period, I was starting to play high school football, and we were working with a lot of former pro athletes: Tim Lester, Jerome Bettis, Mark Kelso, athletes like that from NFL times past. And they said, like, you know what, we've got too much skin in the game here. Like, we need to actually do something about this. So rather than recreate an entirely new football helmet, they decided, what if we made a one size fits all add-on cover that could augment any existing football helmet? And that's how the Guardian Cap, this item right here, was kind of born.
It's definitely an amazing story, and obviously the background to it. And you were saying like back in like 2010, and you guys started off like working with high schools and working with colleges. Where did the NFL officially start to really come into play? Do you remember what year and just how those discussions started?
Yeah, I mean, I think that people see the Guardian Cap now and they just consider us like a overnight success. But quite honestly, it was a lot of legwork in the making, and it was a lot of showing up to conferences and talking to coaches and trying to convince people that, hey, reducing those repetitive blows over time does make a difference. So in 2012, we were at the University of South Carolina, the year that they had Jadeveon Clowney and some other really great athletes. And it just kind of grew word of mouth from there. It really wasn't until 2017, after we had gotten some traction with a couple different college programs, a couple hundred high school programs, that the NFL ran their Head Health Tech Challenge. And what they were specifically looking to do there was, how do we help improve helmet technology, specifically the shell and the interior of the helmet? And so in 2017, we applied for it and we won the NFL Head Health Tech Challenge, which provided us funding for the NFL to then study the product further. It was about $20,000 that went back to their program, and they started to research it, and yeah, just kept going word of mouth, kept growing from there.
Definitely. And, one of my favorite things, I'm just following the story and obviously how everything started with everyone wearing them at practices, during camps. What was I guess, with that first year when everything was implemented, what was your feedback from the players? Because, the players are very vocal about any type of change. What was your initial feedback and how it's grown over time?
Yeah, sorry. So is the question, what was the feedback from the athletes themselves? Got it. Yeah. So, I mean, the feedback that we got, honestly, back in 2012, our main thing when we were looking at the product and the way that we created it was, it's not going to hurt and it might help. So everything that we looked at was, we looked at NIJ neck testing and looked at the coefficient of friction. Like, when two Guardian caps collide, is it going to cause further neck injuries? We looked at heat testing. We looked at impact reduction testing. And everything that we saw as we were building it showed that, no, this Guardian cap actually will make somewhat of a difference. And it wasn't until the NFL actually ran their on-field study over the past couple of years that they saw a reduction in concussions related to the Guardian Cap product. But before that, before we had all the testing and the proof of concept from the NFL, all we had to rely on was the athletes themselves. And that's kind of what grew the product more than anything else, is that like early 2010s period it was a lot of these athletes who were using them at Clemson, South Carolina, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and they became coaches. And what we had heard from them was, man, this feels way better. Like my head isn't hurting as much after practice. Like I'm not feeling the ringing in my ears. I can feel a little bit more focused. And that's what the Guardian Cap is really meant to solve is that reduction of impacts over time. I think the average high school lineman takes over 1,000 hits to the head every single season. And I mean, it's not, nothing's going to fully stop or prevent a concussion. If you have two guys that are 6'5", 250 running full speed at each other, I don't care what you put on them. That's a car crash at that point. What the Guardian Cap is really meant to do is it's that non-concussive blow is the terminology within the industry. Of that like 4.3 to 7.2 meter per second hit that they're just colliding over and over again as they're coming off the ball, as they're jumping up for a jump ball. And so it was really the athlete feedback of, man, this looks a little bit goofy, but man, do I feel way better after practice. That kind of kept us going for a really long time.
Definitely. And obviously seeing it in games now, and there are so many players that have taken to it that have been pretty much advocates for wearing the Guardian cap. And you see it like Pro Bowl players like Jonathan Taylor wearing it.
Yep.
Romeo Dobbs has notably talked about it not just being a safety thing, but also helps in terms of the game. And he said being a smaller receiver that he's able to be seen a lot better by the quarterback. So, you're getting a lot of positive feedback from it. So I'm just curious now with the new NXT 2.0, what in terms of the design or something that has everyone so excited now with this new design?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, the athletes themselves, the ones that are choosing to wear it today, love it because they tend to stand out. And we don't really want to take that away. But what we're actually doing is we're making it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So now with our new Guardian Cap 2.0, you're actually able to customize to look more like a helmet. So what we've changed is the original Guardian Cap, the 1.0 version that the NFL has been using, is this kind of egg crate type design that works really well because it has individual cells that help reduce linear and rotational forces. But what we're moving to is this 2.0 version, as I can show you behind me, that has a little bit wider panels. So that way you can actually put a logo on the side. I know you write for the Chiefs. Unfortunately, I don't have a Chiefs helmet here in front of me. I do have a UGA one that I can show you here in a second. But that way you can put stripes down the side. It looks more like the helmet. And then really what our goal behind this is, and the reason why we're moving to this better looking helmet is the best piece of safety equipment is the one that you choose to wear. And quite honestly, not everyone's going to be a trendsetter and isn't going to want to stand out on the field as much. So we have to make something that looks good, that still works just as well as the original version, and an athlete is going to choose to put on their head.
Definitely, and I do like it. It's a very slick design in terms of the new setup. It looks really cool. I like the it's a little smaller, and I think that's what a lot of people were worried about. Oh, look at that, see, it's the Georgia one.
Yeah. So you've
Yeah,
got a red one right here. So I've got this UGA one right here for you. But I mean, quite honestly, it fits over the helmet really well. It's got 2 points of contact back here with the lobster tail, so that way it fits down onto the helmet itself a little bit better. The side straps, yeah, we're really proud of this design to get it to this level now.
definitely looks good, and obviously the NFL has shown this appreciation for allowing it now moving forward. And the results they put out in terms of, I think it was like a 50% decrease in concussions since the Guardian Cap has been introduced. But one thing that I also noticed and is obviously the big trend, and that's flag football. And you guys actually have some caps for flag football. Can you just discuss that and moving into that avenue?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll have to go get one of our loops here in a second and I can show that to you. But I mean, flag football is growing exponentially right now. The rate at which more and more athletes are getting out there and getting the chance to play. And honestly, they're all football players. I've gone to a couple dozen clinics now and showcases and tournaments. And I mean, these guys and these girls are flying around out there. And just because flag football is a no contact sport, doesn't mean there's no contact. So that's what kind of got us into this space is we wanted to provide a solution for those accidental blows. Two players are jumping up for a jump ball. Someone catches an elbow to the eyelid. You're jumping up and you come down on the back of your head. That's what kind of moved us to creating our Loop product. And now it's the number one rated headband on Virginia Tech's rating system. It's also 5-star. It's also the lowest cost. And we've just seen that product take off, kind of right in line with the growth of flag football. It's especially helpful because it is just a headband. So that way for female athletes with longer hair, they can still play with personality, and it really doesn't get in the way of their overall field. Ed, if you don't mind, can I tell you a little bit about the next thing that we're working on?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely, yes.
Yeah, perfect. So one of the things that the NFL found while they were doing all of this testing over the last couple of years is that face mask to face mask concussions represent about 40, I believe it's about 44% of in-game concussions in last season. Overall, when they were studying the total impacts that an athlete takes, about 50% of them are face mask to face mask. Well, the Guardian cap, the shell of the helmet, the interior of the helmet really doesn't do a lot when you're colliding face masks to face mask. So what the NFL has done is they've created this Head Health Tech Challenge 2.0 that they're going to be closing at the end of. But what we've seen is we've seen this data over the last 2 years, and we've been working on a solution since then. So we partnered with a group of researchers out of Stanford University to create a new chin strap that actually helps reduce face mask to face mask impact by about 50%, or sorry, by about 35%. So it's this chin strap right here. You'll start to see it on different NFL fields. Kyle Juszczyk for the 49ers wore it last season. Elijah Higgins from the Cardinals. Chris Olave for the Saints. What it is it's a little hydraulic cup on the interior of the chin strap. And what it does is as soon as that face mask is impacted, none of the shell, interior padding, none of that matters. All the force is allocated directly into this chin cup area. And this acts almost like a shock absorber, like for your tires, or for your car, that helps reduce all of that impact and disperse it throughout the straps and throughout the chin cup itself.
All right, it's really done. It's definitely very innovative. And you said you've already seen a couple of players have been wearing it already, and it's going to be something that's going to be spread out a little bit more as we look towards the next season. So,
Yep. It was a pilot last season.
yeah.
It was a pilot last season that we ran with certain NFL players and certain teams, but this season a lot of the NFL teams are picking it up. We'll hopefully see more and more of them out on the field right now. I know Notre Dame has their entire offensive and defensive linemen in them right now. Indiana, obviously the national champions, has a lot of different athletes out there wearing it. So yeah, we're super proud of this new development. And again, our entire mission is how do we help athletes play the sports that they love without the repercussions. So this is just the next step along that path.
It's definitely, like I said, another helpful thing that's going to save lives and just help them, like you were just saying, in terms of what they're doing on the field. It's all amazing stuff. And Jake, I'm thankful to be able to speak to you about it because this is stuff that needs to be talked about a lot more. And seeing the way the company is growing each year, especially in the NFL, is definitely amazing. So once again, Jake, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no, thank you, Ed. Appreciate it.